Now comes the judicial wing. Now the judiciary, it has been very active. Our judiciary has been very active in almost all the fields. As far as the environmental concerns are there has been a lot of doings by the Supreme Court of India and even by the High Courts, they being the constitutional courts. They have expanded the horizons of the environmental law. They have expanded environmental jurisprudence. Let me give you examples. How does the judiciary interfere in these environmental concerns? Let us say that a steering committee is formed, a monitoring committee is formed by the Supreme Court of India in a particular litigation that has been filed. Now, hypothetically understanding, suppose the hospitals, they are discharging their biomedical wastes in a casual manner. Now, of course, this is polluting the environment. Now, this High Court or the Supreme Court, when this matter comes into a litigation, any controversy comes to the knowledge of the High Court or the Supreme Court, or even when they take a suo motu cognizance of it, they issue a mandamus to a particular authority who is in charge of it, or they set up a monitoring committee which shall be under the supervision of a High Court judge or a retired Supreme Court judge, so that that monitoring actually happens. Now, they have laid down various guidelines so that the lacuna, the loopholes, they may be plugged in, and this is how the entire state, with the collaboration of the executive wing, the legislative wing, the judicial wing, they are into that primary goal of making our environment user friendly, citizens friendly, life friendly, aquatic life friendly. So, it has to be made friendly to all the living and non-living components which are stationed in the environment. Now, in spite of all these things, in spite of all these efforts that have been put in by the government, all coming from the three organs, the primary concern is that the required output, the required target, we are not able to meet. Unfortunately, this is the situation. We passed the Environmental Protection Act long back in 1986, this is 2016, and even now we have not reached to that target, that we have a clean environment, we have a livable environment, we have a pollution free environment. Now, as a matter of fact, the environment protection is a concern of various stakeholders. It is not so that it is the responsibility only of the state, only of the lawmaker, only of the administrator, only of the executor, or only of the judicial wing. This is such a major concern that everybody needs to put in his or her services so that we reach to the ultimate target of having a livable atmosphere, livable environment. Now, here is what the people can do, either individually, sole-handedly, or with the help of the concept of NGOs or CBOs. Okay, NGOs is any non-governmental organization that is registered for a cause. Community-based organization is any community-based entity, unit. Let me say that it can even start from an RWA, a resident welfare association. I have a colony, I live in a colony which has about 6,000 flats. Okay. Now, 6,000 flats is a huge amount of people living in one space. Now, you form a community based organization, you say that okay, we will take care of this locality and we will ensure that no environmental pollution happens here, and whosoever is causing an environmental pollution, we will try to counsel him, we will try to educate him, we will try to tell him about the implications and the repercussions of it. So, we take custody of one particular area, and that is what we mean by a community based organization. Okay. Now, moving on to a larger working station, we say that some entity is in the form of a NGO, that is a non-governmental organization. So, let me very clearly say that this non-governmental organization is hand to hand in with the government. Okay, that is why we use the word government there. So, one work is being done by the government, the other work is being done by this NGO, and we say that no, you are resembling, you are a quasi-governmental body, and that is why you say that you are a non-governmental organization. So, this is a second step, and the primary step is where I as an individual, where any public spirited person can come and contribute his lot into the environmental protection. Okay, because we say that charity begins at home. So, let us start from a man, from a woman, from a person who is there as an individual in the society. He has to do a lot for the society, he has to do a lot for the surroundings in which he has to live, he has to survive, he has to raise his generations, and we have to be very cautious about the future generations that are about to come. Okay. Now, I'll try to motivate you giving examples of various people who have started contributing a lot in the field of environmental protection, all doing single-handedly. Okay. MC Mehta's name is very common to almost all of us. You know, MC Mehta is an environmentalist. He started all this work single-handedly. He had that vision, he had that aim that the environment needs to be safeguarded, the atmosphere that needs to be safeguarded, and with that zeal, with that undying zeal in him, he started a foundation which is named after his Christian name, MC Mehta Foundation, and he has set a very clear target before himself and the foundation and whosoever is a part of that foundation, that we will try to ensure that there is a clear-cut availability of air, clean water, clean living space around every people. Then he has taken a pledge to work for the environmental protection as far as the forests are concerned, the Himalayan range of mountains are concerned, the mangroves are concerned. So he has very clearly set up his target, and then he has done something which is outside the regime of environmental laws. He has pledged that he will try to work for the health of the people. It is indirectly connected with the environment, but he is also concerned. He has taken a pledge to ensure that the health of the people is contained, is not deteriorated due to all these pollutants. Okay, so this MC Mehta is one individual, a public spirited person who has done a lot. So this is about his foundation. After that, supplementing to the role which he is performing in the capacity of the head of that foundation, that NGO, he has filed a lot of PILs. PIL is a public interest litigation which can either be filed in the High Court or the Supreme Court. He has filed a lot of litigations in the Supreme Court and the High Court, all hovering around the environmental laws, all hovering around the environmental concerns. Wherever any cause of environmental degradation is happening, he has intervened very actively in all these fields, and the judiciary has given favorable judgments in all these cases. Okay, so this is one example where a public spirited person, MC Mehta, has contributed a lot. Let me give another example. You must have come across the name of Sundarlal Bahuguda. Sundarlal Bahuguda is also a renowned environmentalist, and we associate his name with Chipko movement. Now this Chipko movement, the very nomenclature of it means that you embrace a tree. He was very much into that concern that the indiscriminate, the mass cutting of the forest, the trees does not happen. Because as soon as the forest cover is removed, what happens? Soil erosion takes place, the climate changes, the rainfalls are affected. So everything he tried to focus around the killing of the trees, the felling of the trees. So he started this Chipko movement, and what was the practice which was started, which was followed by him, is that the people, all the people who were concerned about this major issue, they used to embrace the trees. Like if you want to kill the tree, if you want to cut the tree, if you want to fell the tree, you have to injure us also. And this is how he started to stop the government from being into this practice of cutting down the trees. So this is how he tried to be very active, and his efforts, his team's efforts, they were very instrumental in making the government stop at a particular point. Okay, so this is another example how this great man Bahuguda Sahab, along with his team members, one Bhati was there, who have tried to stop this indiscriminate felling of the trees. Okay, now we come across the names of Medha Patkar, Arundhati Roy, who are rather associated with the Narmada Bachao Andolan. Narmada Bachao Andolan is again an organization which was focused on to the point that there was a huge dam, that is Sardar Sarovar Dam, which is about to be built and which is taking place. The primary concern as far as the environmental issues are there, again, because you need to construct a dam, you will have to dig the land, you will have to dig the soil, you will injure the soil, and that was the major concern of this Narmada Bachao Andolan, guided by all these people, Medha Patkar, Arundhati Roy. And again, they forced even the judiciary to have a favorable view on it, because many lives would be devastated, the aquatic life, the biotic life, the environmental concerns were there, and they even had to face contempt charges of the Supreme Court because of their zealous attitude to protect the environment. Anyhow, this is just a motivating story, how one man, how one person, how one man, one child, one individual can contribute into environmental concerns.